Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week 20's Be College Ready seminar with me, Diego, now as your official counselor. I know, I'd be very excited as well. So last week we discussed the CSU and UC applications respectively, and this week we will be discussing the Coalition and Common Apps, which are the college application services that you'll be utilizing when and if you apply to, or if and when you apply to private schools. So there is a different process. So we're going to go over that today. In the description, there will be the assignment linked as always. It'll be pretty brief and I'll go over it as well in the video towards the end. So let us begin. Of course, we're always going to do our vision and mission statements first. So our vision is to elevate people's growth mindset so we all achieve higher ambitions. Essentially, we want you all to be continuously expanding your mindset in whatever endeavor it is that you choose to pursue. And our mission, as always, is to guide first generation high school students so that they will pursue and obtain a college education. Not only do we want you to go to college, but we also want you to receive a college degree, because that's the end goal, right? Right. So there's that. Our purpose behind our College Ready seminars, as always, is to guide you towards being ready for college, building a portfolio to prepare for college and scholarship applications, and increasing your awareness of who you are and what direction you want to go. So I want to make sure that you're college ready, you're able to present yourself whenever you're applying for scholarships and for college, and that no matter what different fluctuations happen in your journey, you'll be able to make the best decision with the information that we are giving you. Just make sure, yes, we are recording. So very briefly, we're just going to review. Now, please pay attention because this is on the assignment. Last week we went over the UC and CSU college applications. So if you remember correctly, the CSU does not have any college essays. There are no prompts. It is specifically just basic information about you. Whereas the UCs tend to delve a bit more into you. There's 8 personal insight questions, and you do have to complete 4 of them. Pretty straightforward. And those are more centric on your experiences and what you have done all throughout high school. I'm getting a call right now, so we're just going to ignore that. So there's a little refresher. As well, some things you should be keeping in mind as you're going forward with the college application process is that, first of all, remember that the deadline is around the end of November for the UC and CSU applications respectively, but you should be able to create an account and fill in that information over the summer. So please keep that in mind. And we do expect all of our seniors to submit by mid-November, right before Thanksgiving. So definitely keep your eye and keep vigilant on that and get it done as soon as possible. Because that way you can properly enjoy your turkey day. I don't know if people still say that, but I like to think so. So yeah, as well, when it comes to preparing for college applications, you should remember to create or use an email that is clear of clutter. You don't want to let a junk mail in there, that you will check regularly, and that you will use in case of password recovery. So what happens a lot of the time is that after you apply for college, you'll get emails for your portals, for scholarships, for admission, and people who don't have any of that set up will tend to lose those emails. Sometimes people will get accepted or rejected from a school and never even know of what could have been. So you definitely want to use an email that's clear. I have to emphasize this, please, please, please do not use your school email, your Berkeley email. Don't do it, or whatever high school you go to. Don't do it because that email is going to get deleted. And if you need any of this information the summer after you graduate, that email is going to get deleted. So you want to be able to have something that's always going to be on record. So please create or use an email. I created a new email and everything worked out pretty well. Is there anything else I should mention? I think that's more or less it for the review. So this week, as I mentioned, we were looking at private college applications. Now, there is a completely different process for applying to private colleges. That would be via the Coalition and Common Apps respectively. There is a difference, and we'll be going over that today. And which one should you choose? Well, you'll have a better idea of that towards the end. So, as always, our session this week will be successful if we rethink our perspective on private colleges and understand the Common App and Coalition apps respectively. Yeah, we want to make you reevaluate what it means to apply to a private college. And we also want you to really understand the differences between the common and coalition apps. So yeah, so starting off, what are some pros and cons of applying to and attending a private college slash university? Now I did have, there is an exercise for this for the in-person session, but since it's online, I think it's best if we just kind of go over them. So private colleges may seem like institutions with super high standards and a price tag that is too large to even consider for most students, and especially for first gen and low income students. So why should we have y'all reevaluate your perspective on these schools? Well, there's a lot of things to keep in mind when applying to private colleges. Now, the difference between private and public schools, public schools are funded by the state. So state universities, they're funded by the state, whereas private colleges aren't. They mostly get by through donations and grants gifted by other people. So that means that there is just a bit more financial aid and scholarships that are available. It's a lot easier to, not easier, but it's a lot more likely for you to be getting a lot more money and grants and scholarships from a private college than you are from a state school. Another thing as well to keep in mind, this is what I would say is more fun. There's a strong focus on your uniqueness. So whereas the UC application focuses on your experiences and your work ethic, the different private schools have a college application that actually gets to highlight your quirkiness, your more fun side. Sometimes the essays are a bit more relaxed, a lot more fun. So that can really make all the difference when you're even applying for college. Because are you really going to be enjoying the process of actually getting into that school, and what are those values? So yeah, so private colleges get to make their own decisions on whom they would like to join their campus community. So therefore, your essays, recommendations, and anything else in addition to your grades are evaluated in high regard. So uniqueness through your essay is important. Your recommender is just as important as well. It's another thing to keep in mind. You do have to submit letters of recommendation, whereas the UCs do not accept letters of rec unless they want to have some more information on you. It depends. So you might be aware that Berkeley does that. So yeah. Let me fix my computer. So yeah. So of course, there are two main college applications that students use across the US. Versus the common application, or the common app for short, and then the coalition app, or coalition application. Pretty interchangeable. So private schools have teamed up to share an application system so that you do not have to keep repeating the info giving process for every school you wish to apply to. So you can have all your information easily saved here like that, just like the UC app where you just send it to the schools that you want to pick. The same thing works here so that we don't have to completely restart a new application every single time, because that can be really tiresome and take away from the actual process of applying. So yeah, so when it comes to the Common App, this one is the more popular for private schools. A lot of people use them, and it's accepted by almost 800 schools. So almost 800 different schools are registered like to utilize the Common App as a valid way to submit your college application. But there's also another application that's growing and becoming really popular, and that is the Coalition app. And this is created by the Coalition for College. So the Coalition's mission is to target colleges that have met the following expectations. So they want to support lower income, under-resourced, and/or first-generation students, provide responsible financial aid, and bolster student success in college and beyond. So those are the three main purposes of the Coalition app. To make sure that they're supporting students who do need those resources and/or are first gen, providing responsible financial aid, and bolstering student success not only in college, but beyond, which is incredibly important. So with that, this one, we'll get to that later. We're gonna go over the Common App. Well, first the Common App. So over here, if you wish to apply, you would go to apply.common app.org, and I've already sent it to my account. And as you can see, we have 4 different universities here. So first of all, we're going to show off you show you all off the dashboard. So the dashboard is essentially where all the colleges that you're applying to are going to be available. So let's start off by, and there's also things such as adding your term or admission plan, and it also says the status of your current application. So let's begin off with Claremont McKenna. And as you can see, under the My Colleges section, it features all the different colleges, and this little down-clicking arrow will allow you to see all the different information regarding those universities. So it'll show you a quick review of the requirements for the application, such as the fees, their testing policies, recommendations, additional information about the school themselves, and more importantly, the writing requirements, which we'll get to in a bit. So yeah, now if you go into under the actual Common App, this is the physical, not physical because it's online, but this is the actual application for colleges. So here you have all your basic information, your name, demographics, pronouns, your date of birth, address, contact, language, geography. And this is here as well as where you'll figure out if you're eligible for the fee waiver. Because of course, applying to college is pretty expensive, so you want to be sure to check if you can actually get that waived, because nobody wants that. Nobody wants to have to pay to apply for college. As well, you have the family section, your education. So this would be where you apply for, where you would add which high schools you've been to. Yeah, pretty much everything is basically the same as the CSU and UC apps. So you're like testing, activities. This will be where you add extracurriculars. And more importantly, this is the writing section. So the general application, as in just the Common App, requires 1 essay. You have here, it'll specify which ones it is required for and which ones it's not required for. But for the Common App, you have to write 1 essay of 7 prompts that they give you. So there's 7 prompts right here, tackling different themes and topics, and all of it comes back to you, and you only have to write 1. So max amount of words is 650 words. So definitely, so it's twice as long. So you have twice as many amount of words that you can use compared to the UC application, which you remember the limit was 350 words. So yeah, around twice as much. But it does need to, it can't be shorter than 250 words. So you do have a lot of space if you do want to talk about stuff like that, or not if you want to talk when you talk about your chosen essay. Once again, you do get to pick the topic that you want. And remember, you only have to write 1 of the 7 prompts. Now, these questions do get updated year to year. Actually, for the class of 2022 and onwards, they are going to get this 4th question about reflecting on something that someone has done that made you happy or thankful. Blah, blah. Oh wait, no, sorry, I messed up. The original question was something about solving a problem that they figured. This is the current question that they now have. So there's a chance that next year's might be different. There's a chance it might not. Really just depends. And oh my God, this question about reflecting, it almost sounds like it has something to do with CLASP. It's almost like we've been, teaching you all to do that from a very young age. Wow, just happens to be so. So yeah, so that's the essay portion. And here we have additional information where you can add any additional things that you might want to add regarding your disciplinary history or how you've been impacted by the pandemic, etc. So let's go back to the actual colleges, and under Claremont McKenna, which is the college that we're currently applying to, which is in Claremont, California. So in general, like some private schools are test optional, and they all really should be. But as you can see here, it says standardized testing policy. So you can find that there. And if you do choose to send it, you can actually get your tests super scored, where they take the highest of both sections of your SAT and mesh that together. So maybe on one you got a higher English score, but on the other you got a higher math score. They'll take those two and put that together, and that's your new collective SAT score. So if you do choose to do that, there's that. Now there are supplemental questions that you have to write. Let's see. So supplemental essays are essentially the essays that the school specifically asks. So these will vary from university and institution to institution. So as you can see for Claremont McKenna's, it's about talking about these are like, you have your two topics right here. So yeah. So Common App and Coalition, like I said, only ask for one general personal statement, unlike the 4 for the UCs. But private schools will more than likely have additional questions to respond that are specific to the school. So as you can see, these are Claremont McKenna's questions, but if you go to Rice University, so writing and supplement, no, not there. Here it is. So there's actually a portion that says, in keeping with Rice's longstanding tradition, please share an image of something that appeals to you. I think that's pretty fun. I think that's pretty cool. You get to show an image that appeals to you. So whether that be, I don't know, a flower, your family, McDonald's McFlurry, that sounds very appealing right now, actually. You can submit anything. So it all just really depends. There are also some universities that maybe ask you to write a letter to your future roommate. Some that ask you to pick a character from a TV show and have you explain why you relate to it. So yeah. So overall, that's the Common App. Pretty straightforward. Very similar to the UC app. And now we're going to check out the other one, the other application service. So just a reminder, Common App does focus on your quirkiness, so be as quirky as you need to. But speaking of quirky, here's the My Coalition app. So the Coalition app is once again incredibly similar, but there are some things that the Coalition app has that the Common App doesn't that I think make it a bit stronger. So one of the things that I really like about the Common App, the Coalition app, is that you can actually add people under here where it says under contacts. You can actually add and you can invite people to your application, kind of like Google Drive, and they can easily log in and they can check your work without you being there. So this allows you to get great feedback for your essays, for your statements, for your recommendations, etc. So I think that's super convenient. That's a really good thing. It makes everything a lot more accessible and it's a lot easier. And here under Locker, you can actually keep and store your documents like permanently, and they'll be there for whenever you need or need them. And no one can see these files unless you share them. So once again, I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, so next we're going to go on to my profile, and pretty much just like the Common App, it's same thing, basic information, your account ID, first name, coursework. Yeah. Now, in contrast to the Coalition app, not the Common App, the Coalition app actually has 5 prompts and you write 1. So you pick the one that you want, but you only have to write 1 aside from whatever the school requires, just like with the Common App. But there's only 5 prompts instead. So let's see if we can find them. Coalition, that's it, there we go. So yeah, so you just pick a prompt and you write the one that you think you can answer best. And yeah, so while this is great and all, and some people, and remember, the aim of the Coalition app is to support low-income first-generation students, bolster student success, and as well, what am I thinking? Where is it? Yeah, provide a lot of financial aid, or at least responsible financial aid. One of the downsides with the Coalition app is that not every university is registered with them. And this is because they only feature schools that match their aim. So if you look under colleges, actually, so I want to apply to Pepperdine. Oh, it's not there, but Pepperdone's a private university. That's because it doesn't match the aim from of the coalition app. It doesn't meet the criteria of supporting first generation and low income students. Um, so it really just depends on the university that you are looking to apply to and whether or not they meet the criteria. So that's more or less pretty much it. Now you might be wondering, coalition or common app, which one should I do? It's really just a matter of preference. Some students prefer one website's layout to the other. But do remember, once again, I keep saying it, remember the aim of the coalition app. And if that matters to you, then maybe use the website to filter out schools that are not as supportive based on what their standards are. And of course, if your school doesn't show up in the coalition app, you have to apply via the common app to that school. So yeah, so that brings us to the end of today. Here's the assignment, just a little review on the UCs, explaining the common and coalition app. And there is a little mini brief paragraph that you have to do, but it's not that bad. 35 sentences. And look, I even spruced it up for you all. I'm getting really good at this. I'm excited. But yeah, so that concludes today's session. I hope that everything was pretty straightforward. I am your official counselor, so I'm very excited. Yeah. Otherwise, have a good one, y'all, and I will see you next week. Bye.